Under the Cursed Moon. Chapter 11. The Blacks had no reason to rush their journey. With the whole city of Seattle to explore, they set out each day with a sense of adventure, eager to uncover all the hidden gems the city had to offer. Teddy, his excitement boundless, took the lead, pulling Harry and Hermione along as they wandered through bustling streets and cozy corners. The damp atmosphere of Seattle, a stark contrast to the bright sunshine they had hoped for, barely fazed Teddy. "It's just like a big, magical rain cloud," he declared, laughing as they splashed through puddles left by the previous night's rain. His enthusiasm was infectious, and soon even Hermione was twirling her umbrella playfully. The trio embarked on a shopping spree, exploring local boutiques and charming shops filled with unique treasures. Teddy marveled at the various toys and gadgets that lined the shelves, eyes wide with wonder. "Can we get this one?" he asked, holding up a colorful drone that hovered in place. Harry chuckled. "Maybe after we settle into our new home, but I promise we'll find something special for you today." After a few hours of exploring, they ventured into a car dealership. Harry had decided that purchasing a car would make their transition to America easier, especially for trips to their new property in Forks. As they walked among the shiny vehicles, Harry felt a surge of excitement. He had always wanted to experience the Muggle world fully, and owning a car would help him blend in seamlessly. "Wow, look at that one!" Teddy exclaimed, pointing to a sleek, black SUV parked proudly at the end of the lot. Its polished exterior gleamed even under the gray Seattle skies. "That's a beauty," Harry agreed, running his hand along the hood of the vehicle. "Let's take a closer look." As they walked around the SUV, Harry envisioned all the adventures they could have together as a family. "I think this is the one," he said confidently. The salesperson quickly approached, eager to assist them, and Harry soon found himself in the driver's seat, adjusting the mirrors and feeling the comforting embrace of the leather interior. After some paperwork and excited chatter, Harry drove the SUV off the lot, a huge grin plastered on his face. "Welcome to the family," he announced, looking back at Teddy in the rearview mirror. Teddy's eyes sparkled with delight. "Can we go for a ride now? Can I sit in the front?" "Of course," Harry laughed, relishing the joy radiating from his son. As they navigated the city streets, Teddy was full of questions. "How fast can it go? Can we go off-road? What's that button for?" His curiosity was endless, and Harry loved explaining the functions of the vehicle, drawing on everything he had learned during his time with the Dursleys. After a fun afternoon of shopping and exploring, it was time for the Blacks to begin their journey to Forks, where their new home awaited them. Teddy climbed into the front seat, a wide smile on his face as he buckled in. "Ready for our first road trip?" Harry asked, turning the ignition. The engine roared to life, and he felt a thrill rush through him. "Yeah," Teddy cheered, waving his arms in excitement. "Let's go." Hermione settled into the backseat, pulling out a map of their route. "It's about a 2-hour drive from here. We'll take the scenic route, so we can see the beautiful countryside." With the GPS set, they pulled out of the dealership and onto the highway. The world outside the window transformed from the bustling city of Seattle to serene landscapes dotted with towering trees and winding roads. Teddy pressed his face against the glass, watching in awe as the scenery whizzed by. "Look at all those trees," he exclaimed, his eyes alight with excitement. "It's like we're driving into a forest." "Yes, we are. Washington is known for its beautiful forests," Harry said, enjoying Teddy's enthusiasm. "This is just the beginning of our adventures here." As they drove further from the city, the atmosphere shifted. The air felt fresher, the clouds more distant. Harry turned up the music, and soon they were all singing along to their favorite tunes, laughter spilling from the car and mingling with the sounds of the road. After a little while, Teddy's excitement reached a new peak. "Can we stop and take pictures? I want to remember our first ride," he said, bouncing in his seat. "Great idea, Teddy. Let's find a good spot," Hermione replied, scanning the landscape. They pulled over near a picturesque overlook, where the rolling hills met a dense forest. Harry parked the SUV, and they all climbed out, taking in the stunning view. The clouds hung low, creating a mystical aura around the trees. Teddy jumped up and down, urging them to hurry and take pictures. "Say, cheese!" he shouted, posing dramatically with the forest as their backdrop. They snapped photos, capturing the joy of the moment. As the sun peeked through the clouds, Harry felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. This was a fresh start for their family, filled with new experiences and memories waiting to be made. After their mini photo shoot, they hopped back in the car, continuing their journey to Forks. As they drove, Harry felt a sense of peace settle over him, knowing that they were on the brink of a new adventure in their lives. With Hermione and Teddy by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "Let's make this the best chapter of our lives," he said, glancing back at his family, who were both smiling brightly. With a firm grip on the steering wheel and a heart full of hope, the Blacks set off toward their new home, ready to embrace everything that came their way. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the town, Harry pulled the SUV into the small town of Forks. The evening air was crisp, a refreshing change from the dampness of Seattle. Teddy peered out the window, his eyes wide with curiosity as they drove through the quaint streets lined with cozy homes, each one more inviting than the last. "Is this our new home?" Teddy asked, bouncing in his seat. "Not just yet," Hermione replied, chuckling softly. "We'll be there soon. But first, we need to grab some food. I don't think we can make dinner in a house we haven't even unpacked yet." Harry nodded in agreement. He knew that the kitchen would be a blank slate, and it would take time to gather supplies. As they approached a general store at the center of town, he felt a twinge of excitement. This place seemed small and friendly, just the kind of community he had envisioned for their new life. He parked in front of the general store, and as they stepped out, Teddy's enthusiasm bubbled over. "Look at all the cool stuff," he exclaimed, pointing at the colorful display of goods in the window. As they walked inside, they were immediately met with the scent of fresh bread and spices. The walls were lined with shelves filled with everything from local produce to household goods. Harry took a moment to appreciate the charming ambience, his heart warming at the thought of settling down in such a friendly place. However, it didn't take long for their presence to draw attention. The locals, who were accustomed to a quieter lifestyle, turned to look at the newcomers. Whispers and murmurs filled the air as several people approached, eager to introduce themselves. "Welcome to Forks," a friendly woman said, her smile wide and welcoming. "I'm Mary, the owner of this store. What brings you to our little town?" "Hi, I'm Harry Black, and this is my wife, Hermione, and our son, Theodore," Harry replied, extending his hand to shake hers. "We just moved here and have a property by the beach." "The Blacks, you say?" Mary exclaimed, her eyes lighting up with excitement. "We rarely get visitors around here, especially young families. You're going to love it here. It's a peaceful place, and everyone looks out for one another." As they spoke, more townsfolk gathered around, eager to learn about their new neighbors. One man, sporting a friendly grin and a cap, approached with a curious glint in his eye. "You'll have to let me know if you need any help settling in. I'm Jake. If you need a hand with anything, just holler." Harry couldn't help but feel a sense of warmth enveloping him. It was a stark contrast to the often cold and harsh realities of the wizarding world, where anonymity often reigned. Here, he was just another person, a neighbor, and the townspeople's genuine interest in his family made him feel at home already. As they picked up groceries for the next few days, the Blacks chatted easily with the locals. Teddy bounced between the aisles, fascinated by the array of snacks and treats. "Can we get some of these?" he asked, pointing to a shelf filled with colorful candies. "Sure, buddy. Let's grab a few," Harry chuckled, placing the candy in their cart. When they finally made their way to the checkout, they loaded their items onto the counter. Mary beamed as she rang him up. "I can't wait to see what you all bring to our community. It's been a while since we had a family like yours here." Harry exchanged glances with Hermione, who smiled back at him. They both felt a rush of excitement and hope for the future. After paying for their goods, they stepped outside into the cool evening. The sky was deepening into shades of blue and purple, the stars beginning to twinkle above them. With their bags in hand, they headed back to the SUV, eager to see their new home. "Let's go, Teddy. Our house is waiting for us," Harry said, grinning at his son. Teddy practically bounced into the car, his earlier excitement undiminished. "I can't wait to see it. Do you think it's big? Do we have a yard?" Harry laughed as he secured Teddy's seatbelt. "You'll see soon enough, champ. It's a lovely place, and there's plenty of room for you to play." As they drove toward their beachside property, the locals waved them goodbye, some already murmuring about the new family in town. Unbeknownst to Harry and Hermione, word of their arrival would spread quickly, creating a buzz of excitement that would resonate throughout Forks. Upon arriving at their new home, they were greeted by the soothing sound of the ocean waves crashing against the shore. The house stood tall and welcoming, nestled among trees with a beautiful view of the beach. "Wow, it's amazing!" Teddy exclaimed, jumping out of the car and racing towards the front door. Harry and Hermione shared a proud glance. This was their new beginning, a fresh start filled with hope, love, and the promise of countless adventures ahead. After unloading the groceries and settling in, they quickly prepared a simple dinner, fueled by their shared excitement. Later, as they gathered around the dining table with their meal, the cozy atmosphere felt just right. The warm glow of the evening light filled the room, and Harry couldn't help but smile as he watched Teddy animatedly recount their day. "Forks is going to be the best place ever," Teddy declared, his eyes sparkling with happiness. "Yes, it will," Hermione replied, resting a hand on Teddy's back. "And we're going to make it even better together." As they enjoyed their meal, laughter and stories flowed freely. It was a perfect end to their first day in Forks, a memory that would forever mark the beginning of their new life together as a family. The morning sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled light across the cozy interior of the manor. Teddy's excitement was palpable, his voice ringing through the halls as he dashed from room to room, marveling at every detail of their new home. "Mom! Dad! You have to see this room!" he called out, his laughter echoing as he discovered the spacious playroom filled with toys and a view of the towering trees outside. Harry and Hermione exchanged amused glances before following him. The renovations had transformed the once vacant house into a warm, inviting space, seamlessly blending modern utilities with rustic charm. The wooden beams and stone accents provided a cozy feel, making it easy to forget the outside world. "Look at the size of this closet," Teddy shouted, swinging open the door to reveal a cavernous space. "I could fit all my clothes in here, and still have room for a fort." "That's a great idea, Teddy," Hermione chuckled. "Just remember, it's also a place to store your clothes." After thoroughly exploring the interior, they made their way outside, stepping into the refreshing morning air. The manor stood elegantly, surrounded by tall, ancient trees that swayed gently in the breeze. Teddy's eyes widened with wonder as he took in the scenery. "Wow! It's like a storybook," he exclaimed, running toward the edge of the property where the trees began to thin out. The sound of waves crashing against the rocky shore filled the air, drawing them closer to the cliffside. As they approached the edge, the view opened up before them. The sea stretched out endlessly, the sunlight glinting off the water's surface in a million tiny diamonds. The cliffs were rugged and beautiful, with the waves crashing against the rocks below, sending sprays of salty mist into the air. "Can we go to the beach?" Teddy pleaded, his eyes shining with anticipation. "I think I saw a path leading down to a beach from the house," Hermione said, glancing around. She pointed toward a narrow trail that meandered between the trees. "Let's go check it out." Eagerly, they followed Hermione down the path, the sounds of the ocean growing louder with each step. The trail twisted and turned, revealing glimpses of the beach through the foliage. Finally, they reached the bottom, and Teddy's eyes lit up at the sight of the sandy shore. The beach was a hidden gem, with soft golden sand stretching along the water's edge, surrounded by rocks and driftwood. Teddy wasted no time. He sprinted toward the shoreline, laughing as the waves lapped at his feet. "Can you believe this place?" Harry said to Hermione, watching their son frolic in the surf. "It's perfect for him." "It really is," Hermione agreed, a smile spreading across her face as she took in the scene. "He'll love exploring here." After playing on the beach for a while, they made their way back to the house, sandy and exhilarated. With Teddy happily recounting every detail of their adventure, they began preparing breakfast together in their new kitchen. "Should we make pancakes?" Harry suggested, glancing at Teddy, who nodded vigorously. "Yeah, and we can add chocolate chips," Teddy exclaimed, bouncing on his heels. "Chocolate chip pancakes it is," Hermione agreed, rolling up her sleeves. As they mixed the batter and melted the butter in the pan, the kitchen filled with the sweet aroma of breakfast. Teddy helped by pouring chocolate chips into the batter, his face lighting up with joy each time he managed to sneak one for himself. While they waited for the pancakes to cook, they gathered around the kitchen island, chatting and laughing. Teddy shared stories about what he wanted to explore next, from the towering trees to the mysterious sounds of the forest. "Do you think we'll see any animals?" Teddy asked, his eyes wide with wonder. "Maybe," Harry replied, ruffling Teddy's hair. "There are lots of creatures out here, but remember to be quiet and patient. You might spot a deer or even a raccoon." "Or a bear," Teddy added, his imagination running wild. "Let's hope we stick to the smaller animals for now," Hermione said with a chuckle, flipping the pancakes onto a plate. "Bears are best admired from a distance." Once breakfast was ready, they sat down together, the table laden with fluffy pancakes and fresh fruit. Teddy dug in, a look of pure bliss on his face as he savored each bite. "This is the best breakfast ever," he declared, chocolate smeared across his cheeks. "Just wait until we have a proper kitchen stocked with all sorts of ingredients," Harry said, smiling at Hermione. "We'll make even more amazing meals." After breakfast, the Blacks cleaned up together, the joy of their new life beginning to settle into a comfortable routine. With the sun shining brightly, they felt a wave of contentment wash over them. This was their new home, and they were ready to embrace all the adventures Forks had to offer. "Okay, who's ready to explore some more?" Harry asked, a playful gleam in his eye. "Me," Teddy shouted, jumping up from his seat. "Let's see what else this beautiful place has in store for us," Hermione said, gathering her things. "This place is incredible," Teddy exclaimed, crouching to examine a patch of daisies. "Can we have a picnic here?" "Absolutely," Hermione replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We'll have to plan one soon." As they continued to enjoy the day, the tranquility was suddenly interrupted by the sound of a vehicle approaching. Harry paused, turning his head toward the sound. A police car rolled up and parked in front of their property, the official markings standing out against the backdrop of the trees. Who could that be? Harry wondered aloud, exchanging glances with Hermione. "Maybe it's just a routine check," she suggested, though a hint of concern flickered across her face. "I'll go see," Harry said, setting off toward the front door. He opened it cautiously, stepping onto the porch to greet the visitor. A tall man with a sturdy build and friendly demeanor stepped out of the vehicle, adjusting his cap as he approached. "Good afternoon," he called, waving. "I'm Officer Charlie Swan. I need to check on the new residents of this property." Harry took a breath, relieved at the officer's cordial tone. "Hello, Officer Swan. I'm Harry Black, the owner of this property. We just moved in." Charlie Swan's eyebrows raised slightly in surprise, but he quickly recovered. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Black. I just wanted to confirm everything is all right here since we've had a few reports about some unfamiliar vehicles in the area." "Of course," Harry said, reaching into his pocket and producing the property documents. "Here are the papers showing that we own the place." Charlie examined the documents closely, nodding as he verified the information. "Everything seems to be in order. It's always good to check up on new neighbors. This is a small town, and we like to keep things safe around here." "Absolutely," Harry agreed, relieved to have cleared up any misunderstanding. "Would you like to come in for some tea? My family is here, and we'd love to make you feel welcome." "That's very kind of you, Mr. Black, but I shouldn't intrude," Charlie said, though the warmth in his eyes suggested he was tempted. "Nonsense. It's the least we can do for your kindness," Hermione chimed in, appearing at the doorway beside Harry. "All right, just for a quick cup," Charlie relented, stepping into the house. As they moved to the kitchen, Harry introduced Hermione and Teddy. "This is my wife, Hermione, and our son, Theodore." Teddy, his energy still bubbling from their earlier adventures, looked up at the officer with wide eyes. "Hi, are you a real policeman?" Charlie chuckled, kneeling down to meet Teddy's gaze. "I sure am. And it's nice to meet you, Theodore. You can call me Charlie." "Cool. Do you get to chase bad guys?" Teddy asked, excitement evident in his voice. "I do sometimes," Charlie said, a smile spreading across his face. "But I mostly make sure everyone is safe. That means checking on people like your family here. Harry and Hermione exchanged amused glances as they prepared the tea. It was clear Teddy was fascinated by the officer, who seemed to have a natural way with children. So, how are you finding Forks so far? Charlie asked, settling at the kitchen table. It's beautiful, Hermione replied, pouring steaming cups of tea. We're just starting to explore, but everyone we've met has been so friendly. That's great to hear. Forks has its quirks, but the community is tight-knit. We look out for one another, Charlie said, taking a sip of his tea and nodding approvingly. As they continued to chat, Harry felt a sense of ease wash over him. Charlie was approachable and genuine, making their interaction feel less like an interrogation and more like a friendly welcome. Thank you for stopping by, Officer Swan, Harry said as they wrapped up the conversation. We appreciate you looking out for the neighborhood. Of course. I'll let you get back to settling in. Just remember, if you need anything or if you see something unusual, don't hesitate to reach out, Charlie replied, standing to leave. After bidding farewell to Charlie Swan, Harry closed the door behind him, leaning against it with a smile. Well, that went well. Teddy grinned widely, his eyes sparkling. Can we be friends with him? He's really nice. Sure, Teddy. If we see him around, maybe we can invite him over again, Hermione replied, tousling Teddy's hair affectionately. The three of them returned to their explorations, feeling even more at home in Forks now that they had made a friendly connection. As they ventured into their day, they knew this was just the beginning of their new life as the Blacks in this charming little town.